What's going on, everybody? Everybody. We're here. I was going to try to get on a little bit early, but I was having some technical difficulties. You know how it goes. What's going on, everybody? Checking in this year, boy. Guys, we got a good stream for you tonight. We got Fight Night Frankie from Bad MMA Math. He's going to call in a little bit, and we're going to be doing full card predictions for UFC 307. And I'll do my best to interact with the chat and all you guys today, but if I'm a little bit behind on the chat, it's because I am talking to the Frank Meister about 307. Let's see. We meet again, Society or Mortal Kombat. Good to see you, my friend. Did you see the Guru and Nina drama beef? Interesting. I did not. To Twitter I go. You know the vibes. To Twitter I go. All right. What's going on, Guru? Oh, shit. Nina drama trashed me, so I ended her career. Hold on. I got to watch this. But I got to make sure that it doesn't go through to you guys. Hold on, brother. Frat brother, that brother. Real brother. Whoops. Let's see. Okay. I told her to bust it open. I said, okay. What's she wearing? Chanel and Dolce. What she wanted? Guru started it with hold on. Let me get back to the chat. Can't stick around for long, but I have the feeling Raquel wears the strap on in that relationship. Yeah, because Tisha took her last name, and I think Tisha was the one that carried the child. Nina went off like she's not friends with Strickland and has not heard worse. Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. Fuck, man. I love this shit. Let's go. Okay. God damn. Oh, shit. I gotta send Frankie. I gotta send Fight Night Frankie the link to the stream. Might be. What's going on, everybody? If you could do me a favor, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and drop me a subscribe and a like. And if you're watching this on X/Twitter, make sure to drop me a follow, please and thank you. Rocco Taco, what's going on, guys? Just so you guys know, once Frankie hops on, I'll be slightly less active in the chat because we're going to be breaking down and giving full card predictions for the fights. It's been a minute since I did a full card prediction stream, so let's see what's up. Hold on. Where's this boy Frankie at? Invite link. Bang. There he is. There we go. Man, I'm excited for the stream. Last time was fun. Yes, it was, guys. How many of you guys watched my appearance on Making the Walk podcast this week? I hopped on there with Jax from Making the Walk to talk about UFC 307, and had a good time, man. All the creators that I have a relationship with are all cool people, at least so far. You know, Fight Night Frankie, Dan from Fight Wave, Jax from Making the Walk. You know what I'm saying? Dude, a chick that I'm talking to got recommended my channel on something. So she found out my channel. Hate that. Like keeping it a secret. Nina's just mad Guru turned her down. That just means I need to go from about a 7 to a 10 on insane comments. You know the vibes. Fight Night Frankie, what's good, baby? I sent you the invite, I believe. Yeah, for sure. You know the vibes. Where's the chat? Whose hairline receded faster? It's funny she's outed Guru like he's the most hated critic on YouTube and everyone in the UFC knows. That's not great. Yeah, true. Agree with Jax that if Rountree wins, it'll make light heavyweight more exciting. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying too. I was saying that it's gonna be. Hey Frankie, I sent it to you on Discord. The invite link is on Discord, my brother. But yeah. Well, here's the thing: if Pereira wins this fight and then beats Ankalaev, then the division's essentially dead. Like, who is there? They'd have to find somebody. Like Rakic, maybe. Shit. Let me look at these rankings, boy. I'm thinking, okay, let's see. Ankalaev, maybe. Dude, Blachowicz. Dude, get Blachowicz a win, and then he could fight Pereira. Get Rakic, like 2 wins. He could fight Pereira. There's guys. It's close to dead, though, not gonna lie. Shit. And they still playing my old shit. And yo shit is like the police asking us questions. We don't know shit. If she doesn't like your content and there's the door, means she's meant for the streets. Crazy, brother. All right, let's see what's up with this Guru shit, though. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Oh man. All right, so we got okay. So Nina Drama, who is has the most. Oh shit, dude, I fucked up. There we go. We're good. We're back in the game. Guys, do you think Khalil Rountree has a chance tomorrow? Oh, hold up. Oh, Frankie's here, my guys.
How's it going, brother?
What's going on?
Might need my microphone.
Is that some braids I see right there? Let me see that shit.
Oh no, it's just I've just tied it back with a fruity little Alice band.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
My wife isn't too keen on the braids, so I had to chuck them.
Ah man.
Yeah, she's like, you can't turn up to our son's school like that. They're gonna think you're a criminal. Was the exact phrase.
Not gonna lie though, dude, you could mog some parents at your school, because not gonna lie, young parents are mostly pussy.
Yeah, I think that's what she's worried about. Maybe I just look too good, you know.
Yeah. So what's going on, man? How's your week been?
Oh, it's been all right. It's been like mostly family stuff, you know. I finally managed to get that collaboration video done, which I shot out today, which was they're rough to do. They take a little bit of time, but I finally got round to like about finally just just taking a day to get it done. So that was a highlight for me this week. But apart from that, it's just been family stuff.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can't complain.
Well, you know what also makes those kind of a pain too, those type of videos, is you do pretty high effort editing. Like I was watching it right when you sent it to me. Hold on, I'm just over here putting my little plugs right here, my bad. But yeah, no, because you do like pretty high effort editing. It's not just the talking head parts that everybody submitted. You also had clips and all that. So it's not like it's just watch it through and cut out ums and uhs, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of part of it. So it's like that's what kind of takes the most time. It's like obviously making sure that it's down to like a decent size as well, because you don't want the videos to be, if the videos are longer than like 10-15 minutes, I think we talked about this before, they don't tend to do as well. And also just making sure that like I'm editing down the videos in the right way so that the pace is good. I'm more interested in kind of making sure that the pacing of the videos are right more than anything else, while trying to make them as entertaining as possible. And so it's a bit hit and miss, but
no, I feel you.
Still learning.
No, I hear you. Yeah, I've experienced the same thing. I think some of my like most viewed videos are in that like 5 to 8 or 9 minute range, and then sometimes, you know, when I do the breakdown videos or I do a fights to make for like a whole card, that shit ends up being like 25 minutes, and those don't do as well because people usually tune out after like 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's so much stuff on YouTube that kind of, I think people prefer the kind of mid-range content that's sort of, like I said, in between that sweet spot between like sort of 8 to 12 minutes is about the spot.
Right.
And then, you know, they usually don't watch the whole thing, so, which isn't great for the numbers. So, you know.
True. Nate Clark is asking, is saying that you sound like a British version of Dom Reyes.
I get this a lot. I've got a lot of other creators on the platform that seem to think that as soon as I go off cam, the Yardy voice comes out, the N bomb starts getting dropped. I don't know where people are getting this from. I thought I sounded quite like, you know, I don't want to say posh, but like, you know, it's interesting. I don't know, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
And then let's see, we got some other requests in the chat for you. We got ask Frankie why he doesn't admit to being the leader of the IRA.
I didn't admit to. I'm not going to admit to being the leader, but I'm not going to say that I shun their organization either. we were speaking about it in one of my live streams I think maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I accidentally dropped that my dad was part of him.
Oh, okay.
And I've just been getting inundated with that stuff since then. So,
dang, that's kind of sick though. Frankie got the mob ties, you know.
So yeah, something like that. It's not something that I'm ashamed of. I'll put it that way.
Of course, yeah. You know what's interesting is that I mean, you might be more keen to this type of stuff than me, given that you're in the UK. But I've seen that like McGregor, his sister, is married to or dating like a high up, like kind of Irish mobster, and that Connor has like ties to them or something like that, allegedly.
Yeah, this has been good. It's the Kinahan crime family, I think they're called. They're quite well known in Ireland. It's not surprising. It's not surprising. There's been a bit of kind of back and forth with what's gone on with that. It seems to me like they're pretty tight. And it makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, it's all a bit fishy, to be honest. I mean, the fact that the guy's dating his sister is a bit weird as well. I'm not sure he's the kind of person, you know, if you've got sisters, I'm not sure that's the kind of person you'd want your siblings boinking.
Yeah, exactly.
That way. You don't want that relationship going downhill. That's not a we're breaking up kind of thing. That's we haven't heard from her in a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not favorable. Yeah.
Yeah, but Connor's too busy with Blow and impregnating D to care about any of that, you know?
Yeah, there's talk that he might run for Irish presidency next year, which I can honestly tell you is not going to go well. The Irish people do not like this man. So it's going to be a pretty embarrassing failure for him if he's serious about it. Put it that way.
Man, I saw a thing that I guess they talked about him. They talked about Connor in like Irish parliament or whatever, their Senate or parliament and something like that. And it had to do with him being such a menace when he hits the town. And there's some representative from Ireland that said, like verbatim, she said, are all of our women supposed to run for cover every time our biggest celebrity decides to have a night out? That's crazy.
Yeah, he's kind of, I mean, Dee Devlin is she might get sainted at this point for putting up with this guy. Like it's incredible. I mean, he's kind of known for being. I'm not gonna shit on the womenizing stuff because I've done a fair bit of that in my time when I was a younger man. I'm not gonna shit on that,
Of course, of
but
course.
he's kind of known for like being very active in the party scene, and also like speeding is another thing he seems to be. Irish people are kind of they like to consider themselves liberals, but they're not really.
Uh-huh.
It kind of depends on the situation. When it comes to stuff like that, they're very there's a lot of frowning going on. So yeah, he's not very well loved there.
See, I thought, him being like their biggest celebrity, that he would be pretty well received, but it seems like most of the people that actually like him are American.
Yeah, I mean, Ireland would never allow this guy to get anywhere near it because it would be embarrassing.
Yeah, of course.
It would be genuinely embarrassing if he even managed to get to that final stage. It's probably just it's more talking though. You know what this guy's like. Anything to keep himself in the headlines, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about in a video that I made like last week, is how Connor hasn't fought in 3.5 years. Connor hasn't fought in 3.5 years, and he still manages to be like 50% of the UFC's headlines. It's crazy.
He knows how to keep himself relevant, I guess. Fair play to him. Like, I'm not going to shit on him for that, but it's just, you know what I've been saying about this guy for years. I don't think he fights again. I think he's done pretty much, and I think we just have to accept that.
Yeah,
Not
like
that big a deal now.
yeah, at this point, I'd be shocked if we see him even get a fight announced. I mean, maybe a fight announced. I think the most likely thing is the Saudis get involved and do some sort of like gimmick fight, because they talked about him and Bud Crawford, but I could see a Nate Diaz in boxing type of thing.
Hmm.
I feel like it's going to end up being the Saudis throwing a bunch of money at for something kind of dumb, but in terms of like serious MMA competition, for sure, cooked.
Yeah, and he's got to have some kind of sunset clause in there as well.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I think legally there's got to be some wiggle room there where he could obviously not he could kind of do what Aldo did and sort of quote unquote retire. And as long as he's not joining another MMA promotion, there might be some wiggle room there. But they've probably got him locked up in all kinds of stuff. So it'd be interesting to see. I personally don't think we see him in anything again. I don't think he
Okay.
fights, period. Like, and I
Shit.
think it would be bad for him if he does. They'd
I
have to
mean,
give
I
him
wouldn't.
yeah, no, I wouldn't. I'd be doing exactly what he's doing right now. That's why I don't really criticize him too much. I'd be on that yacht. I'd be in the club. I'd be doing mountains of cocaine. I've never done it personally.
Uh-huh.
But if I was him, I would be all over that. I'd be
Yeah.
doing exactly what he's doing right now to a T. So no criticism on my side. It's just let's forget it.
Yeah, for real. Let's
Mm.
see. What do we got to chat here? When Khalil KOs Pereira, how mad will you guys be? I'm not gonna be mad about that shit, because if it does happen, it'll make the division exciting. But two, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I am worried, because we're clearly not the prime timeline. I mean, think about the stuff that we've seen this year.
Oh my
We
god.
aren't the main dimension. We aren't alpha dimension. We've got Bilal as champion, for fuck's sake.
And
So like
Marab, dude.
anything, and Marab as champion. We had Juliana Peña as champion. Hopefully, we don't see that again. We'll get to that. So I'm not that much invested in Alex Pereira anyway. I mean, if he wins, great. If Khalil wins, whatever. You know, it kind of adds to the anything can happen narrative, which I guess is good. I don't see it. I think he's gonna get bonged out. Not to spoil anything for later on. I think it's gonna be brutality.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna surprise anyone.
Yeah, I think there's a certain group of people that thinks that Khalil's gonna win, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know where all this is coming from. He does seem to have like certainly amongst like prominent media members, he seems to be getting a lot of support. I don't get where it's coming from.
Yeah, and he's
Because
also getting a lot of support from fighters that are of the like Aljamain Sterling and Jamal Hill variety, you know?
Demetrius Johnson came out and said he's going to win as well. He's taken a few L's this year, so I don't know. It's a weird one. I don't know. I guess they've got to add some kind of hype for it, because on paper it seems like a bad one. I don't know. It's a weird one. I don't get why this fight is happening. I think it's embarrassing. I think the whole card is kind of a bit. It's not the worst. Like I was looking over the card this morning, obviously in preparation for coming on, and it's not that bad a card.
It's honestly kind of sick. Like compared because they've been conditioning us to expect bad cards. So when they give us something that has like a Wonder Boy and Buckley on the prelims, we go, "Wow, this is a sick card." Even though
when you actually
like
look at the matchups, it should be good. There should be some good scraps at the very least. So I'm quite looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. And the chat was actually mentioning to me, did you see this MMA Guru and Nina drama beef?
I've seen it around. I haven't delved into it because I'm assuming it's stupid. I do know enough to know that he made like an offhand comment about a journalist who was at the press conference, who I've never seen this woman before. I don't know who the hell she is. He apparently made some offhand comment that she looks a little bit like a tranny, which is not inaccurate. Put it that way. I don't think that's unfair. And then and as far as I know, Nina Drama said something, but it feels weird coming from Nina Drama of all people.
Yeah, I mean,
just feels strange.
Guru just dropped like a 40-minute video, I think like less than an hour ago.
I bet it's
bad. You watched it?
No, I said I bet it's bad.
Yeah, let me see.
He's not the kind of person that you play with in this kind of realm.
He says
he must have been bricked up when she mentioned his name.
Oh my God. He's like, yes, dude, I get to cook.
Yeah, he just I've got videos for the next week on that now, which I would be as well. Even if you get a bit of bad press, it's when it's somebody who's in the spotlight and is part of the scene. I imagine that still it means something, you know.
Dude, I understand it to a very small degree because Cedricus Dumas DM'd me like a long ass time ago. Have we talked about this?
No.
Oh, so Cedricus Dumas, the 21 Savage looking dude, I made a video talking about his like criminal past. And it's like because he just like has a long history of
I'm well aware of his indiscretions. Yeah.
So I made a video about it, and I wasn't even being I was being a narc by making the video, but I wasn't like saying like he shouldn't be in the UFC type of thing. I wasn't saying anything about that. And he DM'd me like 2 months after I made the video and was like, actually, I'll read the fucking message to you. And
was he upset?
He was pissed, bro. He was pissed.
That's kind of satisfying.
Yeah, no, I made like I streamed like 3 or 4 times that week, and I was like, new message from Cedricus Dumas. So I squeezed every drop out of it. So he messages me, and this is verbatim, and the grammar's kind of tough. So if you don't understand it,
I imagine it would be. It doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
So he goes, "Hey, whore, I just
seen whoa. Wow, I was not expecting that. All right, sorry, that caught me off guard. Sorry,
he goes, hey, whore, I just seen your punk ass interview on YouTube. It wasn't even an interview, that was just a video. But I seen your punk ass interview on YouTube talking down on someone's past. You fuck ass bitch. You look like you're scolding. You look like you fucked your ass. Then you go post on your page too. Thank you for always talking shit. You need to go sit your ass down and get some more followers." Bitch, love talking down on somebody's life. What the fuck you done? You look like you beat the shit out of your damn mama. Have a good day talking about me and stop trying to chase cloud. He didn't say clout. He said cloud with a D. Chase cloud off in my past. He probably thinks
it is cloud.
I'm sure he does. And
at least he ended it nicely.
He says, also just know I'm using autocorrect. So whatever the fuck it says to you. I think he means he was talking into his like doing the speech to text.
Wow.
And so I responded and I said, damn. So you didn't like the video? And I said, well, shit, I get it, man. It's a pretty embarrassing past to have. I wouldn't want someone exposing it on YouTube. But again, the information's public and you're a pro athlete in the biggest organization in your sport. So I don't know what you thought would happen. And also he has a history of trying to charge people $100 for interviews, which is like, unethical from a media standpoint to pay for interviews.
Yeah, especially $100 as well. It's like you've either got to go all in with make it very expensive or just don't charge at all.
Exactly.
$100 is kind of a bit like, oh, bro, oh, buddy. Those. It's like it's not a good look.
Down bad.
And he is a scumbag. I
Yeah.
can. Let's call a spade here. He is a gross individual. He shouldn't be in the UFC. So fair play. And the fact that you burned him, he was clearly upset. I would get off on that. I'm not really big on because it's not really a troll job if you're telling the truth.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not going like John Jones gay question mark. I'm just going. No, this is like public.
This is what happened. I'm reporting this. That's it.
Yeah. But anyways, man,
I'd love that.
Yeah, I felt like, hey, man, I felt like the man, even though it was just some bum prelim middleweight.
Yeah, it is, and I mean it's on brand, isn't it? But like, funnily enough, the first person who ever messaged me on Twitter was Aljamain Sterling. Was the first person I got like a response from, and I'm like a fan of his now. I'm that easy to convert because I wasn't his biggest like advocate, but as soon as he messaged me back and was like, I was like, well, I love you, and that was it. I was like, I'm a fan of yours now. I'm so easy.
Honestly, I feel like the acknowledgement's a big thing though, because we make videos about these people. It's the same thing. Guru does interviews with Dricus or Moicano or anybody like that, and he goes, "Guy's never going to lose again. He's never going to lose. He's undefeated till he retires."
I'm so fuming about the Dricus thing because I worked in when I was working in China, there was a friend of mine who went to school with him and is very close with him. And when he had his first fight in the UFC, I was talking about starting YouTube then, and he said like, "Oh yeah, you can get like I can get you an interview with him or whatever if you want to talk to him." And I was like, "No, I'm not really ready for that yet. Fucked up. There's no way you take it now, like with the level that he's at now."
Yeah, no man. Way. My friend, if you know the YouTube and Instagram page, Fight Wave, my friend Dan runs that page, and he's gotten a few interviews with Dricus, but he's gotten them recently, but he also got them like when Dricus was a prelim fighter. So I think that's where that relationship carried over to.
Yeah, but don't forget, fighters don't forget that. If you acknowledge them at the very beginning of the journey, anyone who's got decent, anything decent about them will remember stuff like that and throw you a bone when you ask,
Yeah, and Dan does good interviews too. Just to shout out my guy for a sec. He does really professional interviews. He's like 22, and I actually met him when I was fighting. He posted like a thing on his Instagram saying any SoCal fighters want to make content, and I had like a couple UFC guys that were training partners of mine when I was fighting, and I was like, "Oh yeah, come train and like film a vlog with these guys," and I was just gonna like third wheel. And so he came and did that, and then like we became friends. Then this is like way before I even made content, and he was like 19 back then.
Yeah, you mentioned that he was like the first person you worked with collaboration wise on the platform. So like I remember you shouting him out.
Yeah, so
I've got to check him out myself.
Yeah, he's a college student and he does full-time content too. He's grinding. Not to glaze my guy, I just got to make sure everybody knows, Same thing. I say the same thing about you when I go on someone else's stream.
I appreciate that. Always.
The vibes. It's a grind out here. It's a struggle for us. Got to put on for each other.
For sure.
Shall we get into the card?
Yeah, let's do it. It's quite a long card as well. There's quite a few fights on there, so there's a lot to get through today.
Yeah, there is. We'll go from prelims and work our way up. We'll do.
Sounds good to me.
Let's see. All right. So first fight of the night, we got Court McGee versus Tim Means. It's a matchup of two vets that are both struggling. Court McGee's got 3 straight losses to Jeremiah Wells, Matt Brown, and Alex Morono, and Tim Means has lost 4 of 5. What are your thoughts on that fight?
I mean, I'm not gonna rag on them about their age because I'm technically older than both of them, so I'm gonna leave that out. I think I expect it to be scrappy. I expect it to be kind of slow paced. I kind of agree with some of the other analysts on the platform that say getting a knockout in this one is probably going to be unlikely. I can see it's one again that I wouldn't bet on as well. I expect it to be scrappy, close. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Court McGee trains in Elevation though.
Oh, okay.
And I think I think he grew up in and around Utah, so that's gonna affect a lot of what my picks are today, by the way.
Yeah, the
Like,
altitude plays a big deal. I mean, like every fight, even Mexico City in February, you saw guys where you had flyweights who never get tired that were gassing 6 minutes into the fight.
yeah, and it was especially bad in Utah last year. Like every fight was noticeably problematic. Um, I think it will be a close one. I'm probably gonna edge Court McGee, perhaps. But I wouldn't a split decision wouldn't surprise me. A very close one. Where we get to the end of the fight and we don't know who's won. I can see it going that way. If I was a better man, which I very much am, I would stay the hell away from this one. But it's not a bad fight to open the card. They're both towards the end of their career. They've obviously put in a lot of service for the promotion, so maybe the last one for both of them potentially. Double
Yeah.
pink slip match, get the fuck out of here no matter who wins, kind of situation. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing too, man, is like, oh, sorry, I had to burp. But you know, these guys that are vets that don't really do anything in terms of moving pay-per-views or anything like that, those guys are like relatively highly paid because they're on their like third, fourth, fifth, sixth contract, whatever.
Mm,
And I remember Guru making this point about Andrei Arlovsky, where you know, there's all this talk about fighter pay. You could cut Arlovsky, who's making like $250,000 a fight. I'm sure these guys make six figures per fight. They've been in the UFC for 10 or 15 fights at least.
mm.
You could cut guys like that, and then you can take prospects that are on the prelims and pay those guys 40K or 50K a fight as opposed to 10. Like literally just cut one of these guys. I know that's not really how you're supposed to think about it, but I just feel like these guys that are highly paid that don't really have much name value, it's weird to see them stick around when they're losing 4 out of 5 or 3 in a row.
Yeah, I kind of think I kind of think of it the other way in that they've kind of paid their dues. Do you know
Okay.
what I mean? And it's like they probably haven't made an awful lot of money in the sport, and it's basically taken them getting 15, 6, and it takes these fighters are important in the building of a card. And both of them have been involved in really scrappy, fun fights that you look back and when you're watching the card, they're fighters that even though they're not well known, they can keep the momentum of a card going.
I
And I
didn't
think that
consider
means
that. That's
something.
important.
And I mean, it could be a good card. These two are going to scrap it out in the first fight, and it could be a way to set people off in the right mood. It sets the tone and sort of. So I don't know. I think at their stage of their careers, I don't mind them getting the money that they. The point is, yeah, that everyone should be getting paid more, regardless
Mhm.
of like. It's not a case of the UFC go, oh well, we've cut them guys, now we can pay more, because they won't. They should be paying those guys more anyway. So it's
Facts.
like, yeah. So one hand doesn't wash the other in that regard, but. I like the fight. I think it makes sense for both of them. They're both kind of at this, and it would be amazing for both of them if they, well, not amazing for both of them, but it could be the right time to sort of have a nice war and go out on a relative high on a numbered card, and they both can just piss off. Really, I think is where I'm at with that one.
Yeah, that's one of those, like you mentioned about not betting on it too. Like I'd say, I
Hmm.
think there's 12 or 13 fights. I'd say like 8 or 9 of them, I'm like very confident in my pick in, but
Hmm.
this is one of those ones where I'd be like, yeah, if I was putting money on this card, stay away from this one, stay away from like Marina Rodriguez
That's
and
a tough one
Yasmin
as well.
Lucindo, like because those women's fights where they're like both kind of mid, anything can happen.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when the altitude factor comes into play as well. It's a tricky one because anything can happen. You don't, this card is especially volatile. I would definitely recommend to people not to bet too heavily on this one because there's going to be some shocks in there for sure.
Yeah, I hear you.
Honestly, again.
I would, you know what I would, if I was thinking bets I would actually place on this, it would be Pereira by KO and something like Aldo by decision or something like that.
Yeah, I made my parlay earlier on in the week because I chucked one in from the contender series
Okay.
because there was only one fight that I liked on that. I put Finney in it. And then when I saw what a round, dumpy little orange looking guy he was, I was like, I'm not sure. Maybe I've made a mistake here. But he ended up winning.
Yeah.
I don't mean he's orange colored. I mean he looks like an actual orange,
No, I hear you. I hear you.
sort
Yeah.
of like So that one managed to pull off fine, and then I think I've got Aldo in there. and I've got, or do you know what, we'll talk about it as we progress because I don't want to reveal too much. But
Okay, gotcha.
while we get to each fight, but yeah, Aldo's one that I'm looking at.
Here's a
like
question from David Banner in our chat. Should everyone get paid more? The cameras are the UFCs. They promote. They have the training centers for the fighters, and they have to make the fighters a name. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they definitely should. I mean, at the end of the day, the UFC made $1.4 billion last year. And they're known for having the lowest percentage out of any sporting organization on the planet for what they pay their fighters. And if you think about what the fighters are going in there and doing, they're risking their long-term health. We still don't know the full effects of CTE and whatnot. I mean, the UFC can poo-poo on like the fact that they're being given this opportunity, but these fighters are what make cards worth tuning in from beginning to end. And the fact that they don't get flight, they don't get medical, they have to pay for their own health testing, and then they're getting 10 and 10. They've got to pay their gyms, they've got to pay to eat, and obviously, I think it's disgraceful. I think in terms of what they're making and what they're putting on the line, they should get paid more. I mean, I'm not saying give them millions and millions of dollars when they walk in the company, but there's no excuse for somebody who's putting their life on the line. Essentially, it's what it is. Fortunately, nobody's lost their life, but like we don't know what long-term effects could be had by getting your brain battered in. There's no excuse with an organization that big to be paying anybody 10 and 10 or 12 and 12.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And, you know, something to consider too is that people getting paid more could lead to like the progression of the sport being faster and better because, like, for example, like before I was into fighting, I played baseball for like my whole life. And in baseball, there's the major leagues and then you have minor league baseball with all these, you know, with 3, 4, 5 teams that are affiliates for the major league club. And all of the minor league baseball players, for the most part, unless you're a very high draft pick and you get a big signing bonus, they're very like low paid. And, you know, some guys make $1,000 a month, something like that. And the argument against, because some people say, like the old school people say, and I feel like this applies to fighter pay too. Like you have to earn the big money. You have to pay your dues. Same thing, fighting and baseball. But in regards to paying people more, you know, what if you have fighters that don't have to bartend or DoorDash or work at Walmart on the side to make ends meet and they can just full-time fight? I feel like that would make the overall like talent pool in the UFC go up so much more. And I feel like that's better for the sport.
100%. And also, if you think about guys that are getting 12 and 12, they're getting taxed immediately 50% of that.
Yeah.
You're telling them where to fight and when to fight. You're booking their flights for them, and then you're docking the flights from their pay. You're charging them for medical for the right to get in there, but you're also charging them for what happens to them when they've gone in there and done what you've asked them to do. So you're basically saying, go in there and whoop each other. Like try to basically fuck the other person up as much as you can.
Yeah.
And if you succeed in that, you don't get paid for do you know what I mean? You're not even covered for the damages you get.
Exactly.
The whole thing is wild to me. It's mad. Like there are fighters that walk away from that losing money, which shouldn't be happening. If you're going in there and fighting for a major promotion that gets millions of views every week, millions of people are tuning into these cards, and you're going home more broke than when you went in, that's mad to me. That should not be happening. So even if they were covering stuff like the medical, the flights, that kind of stuff, I'd be more sympathetic. But it's like you're giving them very little, and then you're chipping away you're taking back money instantly. Right. That should be covered by so there's loads of things that I just have with an issue with it. The whole thing's gross, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Thank you for the input, David Banner. We're moving up the card to Ryan Spann versus Ovince St. Preux.
Another banger.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to lie. Kind of a sick fight.
It could be fun. I mean, I'm expecting a KO one way or the other. What do you reckon for this one?
You know, man, I want to say Ryan Spann because he's younger and bigger, but two losses to Anthony Smith is not good. 3 straight losses, 2 of them by finish. And then OSP, I realized when I was doing my research for this, he beat that Kennedy Nzechukwu guy, and he's a heavyweight now. So that tells me like, okay, he beat a bigger 205er. Ryan Spann's a pretty big 205er from like a height standpoint. He's dealt with this size before, even though he's 40 plus. And on the back end of his career, I think I'm gonna go with OSP by just like some weird like clips Ryan Spann during an exchange and Spann headbutts the floor type of thing. I think it's gonna be a wonky KO, whoever wins.
Yeah, you kind of have to take the IQ factor into it as well, because Ryan Spann is kind of known for doing very silly things in there.
Yeah.
And over St. I've never really been too high on the guy, but he's tough. He can grind people out. I'm gonna probably edge Ryan Spann just because I'm not confident in it at all. But I just think what you said, I think like the youth factor and stuff, and eventually, I mean, OSP's had some decent results recently that have been surprising. Didn't he beat he beat somebody that was quite surprising, it wasn't just Kennedy. No, it was Kennedy, wasn't it? The last one he beat.
Yeah, but he beat someone else too. Hold on, let me pull up his shirt on
as well. I feel like there's someone else that he kind of got laid up to, and managed to pull it off as well.
He beat Alonzo Menafield a few years ago, and then since then he has lost to Jamal Hill. You know, that's former champ. Tanner Bozer. Oh, he beat Shogun by decision, and then he lost to Philip Linz.
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
Nah, it's not looking good.
This isn't great either. I think Spann catches him. I'm gonna go with that. I think it will be a first round sleepy nappy time.
Okay, gotcha.
Early shower for but I'm not, again, I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot barge, but I wouldn't bet on this if I was anyone.
Yeah, fuck no.
Stay away from it.
Yeah, these ones where you just go, yeah, whatever. Never bet on that shit.
Because it means nothing as well. I mean, you know, Ryan Spann's not going to be anything in the division. OSP's on his way out. It's just, let's hope somebody bonks the other one out and just gives us a bit of an adrenaline boost moving into the rest of the card. That's basically what it's there for.
True.
So whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna side with I'll side with Spann.
For sure. Just to spice things up, I'll stick with OSP and we'll see what happens. But moving up the card, Carla Esparza in her retirement fight against Tecia Torres / Pennington. What are your thoughts, my man?
It's a tough one. Stylistically, it's because I think Tecia Torres is very good, or Tecia Pennington, and she's now referred to, Pennington's wife. Obviously, you know how that goes.
There you go.
I do think Torres is very good. Like, she's very quick. She's got really good striking. She's speedy. I know Carla Esparza had that horrible performance with Rose, but I actually think Carla Esparza is quite good. She's got really good wins in her career. She's taken a bit of time off. The wins that she's got, she beat Yan Xiaonan not that long ago. I mean, and look how good she's looking. I'm gonna go with Carla Esparza. I think because this is in again, because it's in elevation. I don't see Tecia Torres knocking her ass out. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
And I think if it gets a bit grapple heavy, I think Carla Esparza is going to be a bit more comfortable in that domain. I mean, she does have Tecia Torres does have a good get up game. She's hard to keep down, but I think with the elevation and the type of fight I'm expecting, I think Esparza is going to go out on a win. The only thing that makes me nervous is whenever people announce their retirements, it is a bit concerning.
Yeah,
that's one aspect of it that does concern me, and I like that she's an underdog as well. So if I was a betting man, I might sprinkle a little bit on her, because in women you never go for the favorite, and I think Carla Esparza is a good, underdog wise, she's good.
Yeah.
And again, Lane's saying this in the chat. I think over 2.5 is not terrible either. Always do the over 2.5 on a female fight.
True. And so actually, I like that you mentioned altitude and then the retirement fight, because actually on my notes over here, I put as like the two things that will affect this fight is altitude. We'll see who gasses, and attitude. And because that was the same thing that I feel is when people announce that it's their last fight, it becomes more of like a victory lap, like shake all the hands, kiss all the babies. Thank you for all the fights that you gave us. And it's less of like a let's go out and win a fight, because there's really nothing after that. It's not like let's go win a fight and work our way back towards the belt. It's just let's go fight so that this career's over and I got to say that I did this one more time.
Yeah.
So I think I'm actually going to go with Tisha Torres on that, but it is a women's fight. It's kind of like, it could be just the most boring and hard to score split decision type of thing, but it's one of those things. I mean, honestly, how often do you bet on women's fights? Because when there's so much less of a chance of a KO, just by explosiveness and strength and all of that, it's harder to bet because people could just come out and lay an egg. Whereas Pereira, if Pereira comes out and he had a bad weight cut, maybe he is affected by the altitude, he can still KO Khalil in one round.
Yeah. There's a bit more predictable variables in that regard. Whereas this is another one that, like, normally I'd say not bet on it, but because I really rate Carla Esparza. I think she's very good, and I mean I rate Torres as well. And the only reason why I'm saying I would potentially sprinkle a few on it is because it kind of surprised me that Carla Esparza was the underdog. I was expecting it to be a pick'em. So I'm like, when that kind of I mean, she's not in my parlay, I'll put it that way. But if I was somebody who was kind of, I think with also it's important to mention, I think Torres fights in altitude as well, or trains in altitude as well, which could be a factor.
Because I think does Esparza trains in California, I think, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So it's interesting. I like it. I think I'm gonna edge Esparza. I think decision Esparza.
I think decision regardless who wins. Yeah.
play the over 2.5 if you're looking to make a little money on this one.
100%.
My suggestion. Yeah.
Lane says too many women's MMA on this card. You know what? I don't mean
and this is coming from a female, by the way.
Oh, really? Really? That's interesting. Because that's the thing, is it is like kind of a trendy thing to hate on the WMMA fights right now. That's what like a lot of the people talk about. But at the same time, I'm just saying, like, objectively, since the ESPN deal where Disney is heavily like influencing the UFC, there's been a whole lot of diversity hire type fights, I'll say, that's how I feel.
Yeah, it comes with the territory, I guess.
Yeah.
It comes, but yeah, I mean, I think this is actually, when I saw this fight, I didn't hate it, which is what I usually feel.
Yeah, like, just like as a general statement though, with women's MMA, I was like, sometimes I see these prelim Apex fights, and obviously he's in the UFC now, but I watch some of them and I go, this is a UFC fight, but Jordan Vucenic is not in the UFC. Stuff like that,
Wild to me. It's wild. I think the issue I have with women's MMA fights is when they get elevated to, like, it's like we have to have them as main events at certain points, or co-main events. And we saw what happened with the Sphere card. Like they dragged out the Grasso and Shevchenko fight for way too long, and then it was stinky. Yeah. It ballooned all the energy out of that card. It was such a good card up until that point. And then that's the issue that I have. I'm not saying don't have women's fights. I'm saying just we don't have to main event and co-main event them as often as we do. Is my point.
No, I agree with you. Even like by name value and stuff with fights, they should have put, like, for example, UFC 300. They should have had the BMF fight above Wei Li versus Zhao Nan.
The thing is, I'm kind of all right with. Wei Li is one of the fighters that I'm fully behind in terms of women's MMA. I think she's
entertaining.
She has good fights.
Yeah.
And so does Zhao Nan. So and it was for a real title.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I kind of understood that.
Right.
And it turned out to not be a bad fight. I mean, a lot of people shit on it, but I thought it was a decent fight. Like, it was
I shit on it because it was the only time I had ever seen Herzog fumble things so badly, because Zhao Nan was like asleep at the end of the first and they let her get saved by the bell. She got choked out. And then I think there was another one where, if I remember correctly, maybe Wei Li like had her in a crucifix and I thought it should have been stopped and it wasn't.
Yeah, there was a couple of moments, and then there was a time at the end of the second round when she was literally pounding her face in and it could have got stopped, and they were just like, we'll let it go. And then she made it to the end of that round as well. She basically beat her 3 times. She slept her, like she choked her up basically. Then she ground and pounded her face into paste and then won the decision. So it's like, technically she won in 3 different ways.
Yeah.
I thought with Whaley, I kind of understand it because at least she's got a track record of being entertaining. Whereas some of the others, I'm like, nah. Rose, main event? Really? 2 in a year? Worst fight of all time?
It literally. They just bumped her down, though. They put Moreno and Albazi as the main event of that card
I
and
mean,
bumped
why was
her.
that ever not? Oh, how could it ever not have been? You're going to put
Crazy.
Moreno. Oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, Albazi is boring as fuck, but I'm not going to get into that right now.
Yeah. And then, anyways, we move up the card. We got Austin Hubbard against Alexander Hernandez. I have to be honest. I just don't trust Alex Hernandez to win fights.
And neither do I. And especially he's had a gas tank problem his entire career, and then he's going to fight in Utah. It's a weird one. But
And Hubbard's a little
shit.
tricky. Yeah, he's
Hubbard
shit,
is
but he
shit,
can
in
get
my
tricky.
opinion.
He can get a little tricky. He's dog shit. Don't get me wrong, but
I mean, dog shit is unfair. He's had decent performances along the way. He's a
yeah, I'm just
fighter at
being
the end of
harsh.
the day.
I'm being harsh.
Yeah, I mean, he's not great, but like, it's another one I'd stay away from in a weird way. I think I'm gonna probably, because of how bad Hubbard looked in his last one. Who did he lose to? Halaba?
Yes.
Was it? Halaba's shit as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hernandez has got the. If I'm looking at two guys and I'm like, well, they're both not. I think Hernandez is more skilled. I always try to edge with the more skilled guy, even if you can't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
Hernandez has skills, I guess. He's more technical, and he's got the ability to flatline, whereas I don't think Hubbard really does.
Good point.
I'm gonna go with Alex Hernandez, but again, I wouldn't go near that because he can't be trusted. He's got no gas tank, and he's stupid. Let's not forget that as well.
True. And I think I was looking, if I remember correctly, I think Hernandez, he's had a tough run, man. I think he's lost 4 of 5, and his only win of those 5, let me see. Yeah, so the only fight that he's won in the last 3 years was a decision over Jim Miller.
He beat Jim Miller.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
Wow. When did that happen?
It was on Andrade versus Blanchfield fight night in February of last year, so like a year and a half ago.
Oh, that was, you mean Hernandez, yeah?
Yeah, Alex Hernandez. Sorry, did I say?
I thought you meant Hubbard. I was like, yeah, no, Hernandez. He's pretty much since he basically went at Cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been a rough career for him. Since then, it's just been up and down, mostly down. Again, I don't love it. If you're what I would advise people to do, and this is genuinely what I'm thinking. If it gets to the end of the first round, bet on Hubbard.
Oh, okay.
That's what I would do because Hernandez loses everything after that. He's basically got 5 minutes in him, and that's it. And I think Hubbard is more durable than him. He's got more of a gas tank. So that's how I would say it. It might be one of those live bet and prop ones you can do where you just wait to the end of the first round and then maybe sprinkle a little something on Hubbard.
Yeah, and actually Larry in the chat just said that too. He was saying, wait, let me get it up there. He was saying Hernandez Gasses live bet Hubbard. Same thing.
There it is. Yeah. I knew.
See,
Larry
I've never bet before, but then we talk about betting and I go, I think I could scrum a little bread together like this, you know?
Yes, it's a slippery slope though, man. What with betting, I found that betting parlays is a fool's game because the game's rigged. Like I honestly think MMA and UFC is just a betting organization. It's just a betting ring, is what it is. Where things are a bit too shady. Like the Brito fight the other night was disgraceful.
Terrible.
I reckon Brito was probably in 90% of everyone's parlays that night. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, he's nasty.
It's dodgy. There's no way you give Gomi that fight, but it happens. It feels like it happens every card right now to not be a coincidence. So just do doubles. Maximum is what I would recommend if you're a gamble. I'm not saying gamble. Don't gamble.
Right, of course.
Don't be a parlay person. Do doubles max, and that's it.
Gotcha. So you're going Hernandez in this one?
I'm going Hernandez, but you can tell by I've just spent 10 minutes trashing him. So I don't know. Yeah, I go with Hernandez just because I think he's the better fighter.
Gotcha.
And regardless of what I think, you have to go with the guy who's more skilled, in my opinion.
Okay. Gotcha. I think I'm going to go with Hubbard on this one. And then I think somebody mentioned that Hubbard trains at Elevation as well. I didn't know that. That just helps my case. But let's see. We're at odds a little bit. I feel like last time we streamed, we had like almost the same picks. And then now today we've been a little bit split.
Like generally we agreed. Yeah. It's good though. I like it.
I like it too. Yeah.
Confusing the people that are in here. It's nice. It's perfect.
That's right. Hey, we have gotten some very good reception from the viewers on this stream and the last one. Like the boys were pumped that we were doing another one.
Oh, I'm so glad.
We move up the card. Cesar Almeida against Ihor Potieria. Kind of one that I would stay away from as well, to be honest.
It's one of those cards, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna. I think Igor Potieria is very underrated as well. I'm probably gonna go with Cesar Almeida just because he's training in Pereira's camp, so I think his takedown defense is probably going to be a bit improved, training with Glover and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with his kickboxing background, I think he didn't beat Pereira, but he fought Pereira 3 times, I think, in kickboxing.
I think he might have beat him once.
And he might have beat him once. So yeah, beat him once, lost him twice. He hasn't impressed me so far in the UFC at all. But I'm going to go with him. Igor Potieria, because it's at middleweight, right?
Yeah.
I don't trust his chin with the weight cut.
That's the thing.
I think Igor Potieria is good, but I think he's going to get chinned.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. Because when I saw him, what was it, 301? I think they gave him Michel Pereira, and when I saw that, I was like, getting guillotined and backflipped on, like that's not an accurate representation of Ihor Potieria. Like that's in hindsight. Michel Pereira is a bitch and a half to deal with.
Horrible, yeah.
Like horrible. So in the end, like I was like, that sucks because that makes him look like shit because he just got finished. He got backflipped on and then choked to sleep. But with that said, he's one of those guys where he'll look good and then within a second the fight's out of his hands, whether KO or caught with something or he gets hurt too bad to recover. And I'm going with Cesar Almeida on that one too.
Yeah, again, it's not one I'd bet on. I do think Igor Potieria is decent. I think he really is decent. He's got really crisp hands. And Cesar Almeida has not been good since he's joined the UFC. He just hasn't. He's had 2 stinky performances. I don't trust him. It could be a case of he gets shown out of the door if he doesn't win this one. So there's a lot of pressure on him as well.
True.
But I think the fact that he's training in the right place, I'm gonna edge him. I'm gonna edge him.
Yeah, man. And one thing I thought about too is he got very dominantly wrestled by Roman Kopylov, if I remember correctly, right? And Kopilov's very kickboxing heavy. I think Cesar Almeida couldn't defend takedowns against a heavy kickboxer. If that's how I remember that fight going.
Yeah, that is. I mean, and he was the favorite against Kopylov, which was crazy to me.
Yeah,
crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cesar Almeida. I don't think if Potieria tries to go to a takedown game again with it being at altitude, I think somebody mentioned it in the chat as well. I think it was Lane. He does have gas tank issues as well. So if he decides to do that, he might not be able to maintain it for the whole 3.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Go with Almeida.
Yeah, me too. We move up the card to Marina Rodriguez and Yasmin Lucindo. I was going to say like it's one of those to stay away from, but I'm looking at my notes here because I did research. I was coming prepared for you, Frankie.
With the game, yeah.
That's right. I realized that Marina Rodriguez is somebody that kind of like lets fights drift away and like almost not in the same way like where Kevin Holland just looks like he just checks out in the middle of a fight. But Marina Rodriguez is like low sense of urgency where a fight can just minute by minute slip away from her. And by the end, you're like, okay, it's clear decision loss. But Yasmin Lucindo is a fairly heavy forward pressure boxer for the most part, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and she swings a lot of overhands.
Yeah, and she's much higher on the lesbian index as well. So you have to go that way,
Yeah. My issue with Lucindo, she hasn't really fought anyone that good, and she's young. And again, I think with when altitude's concerned, I expect that again. Rodriguez is not amazing, but she's quite technical. She's got good takedown defense. Her output is good. I think it's going to be another. I think she'll beat her by decision. I'm going to go with Mariana Rodriguez, and I don't hate the bet on this one as well because again, she's the underdog, and Lucindo's very inexperienced.
Fair enough.
Rodriguez has fought a lot of good girls. Is it going to be a great fight? Probably not. It won't be terrible, but I think I like Mariana Rodriguez by decision. I think she just out volumes her. That's what I'm
Gotcha.
going to go with.
For sure. All righty, dude. All right. Now, these are the fights I actually care to talk about. Not that I don't care about the other ones, but these are the
That's
ones
fine
that
to
I'm
say that because
excited
I
about.
don't either. You could see the enthusiasm was waning.
I was like,
It wasn't
okay,
there.
let's get to Wonder Boy and Buckley. So Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Joaquin Buckley 170 matchup, ranked, featured prelim. Give me your thoughts.
I'm very high on Buckley. I've been high on Buckley for a while. I think he's gonna be able to take him down and beat the absolute shit out of him. I think that's what I'm expecting. Buckley's not dumb as well. It's what I kind of like about him. Like he doesn't care about stinking up the joint. He will take the path of least resistance in every fight. And I think Thompson, he's got a style that you can prepare for. It's very like distance management, pick your shots, that kind of stuff. Buckley moves side to side very, very well. He's a lot stronger than Wonderboy. He's good in the clinch. He's got more things he can go to. He's younger, he's stronger, he's hungrier. I think Buckley's the easy pick here. I think he's gonna dominate him. He might not finish him because Wonderboy is hard to finish. I think he's gonna beat the absolute shit out of him though. That's what I'm going with. I'm going with Buckley.
Yeah, that's what I had too. I think this is I was talking about this with Jax on Making the Walk the other day. I was thinking that one, I completely agree with you that Buckley doesn't make the dumb decisions. Like the Ruzaboyev fight, had to get it to the ground and top control. He can't strike with a guy that's like 9 inches taller than him with that reach. And I mean, he can, but it's not the path of least resistance. And so I think Buckley is gonna, be aggressive, close that distance, because he throws those almost like Mike Tyson style combos, and he's gonna close the distance with that double leg Wonder Boy up against the fence, and it's gonna be, half guard. It's pretty boring. Just beat him up 30-27. That's what I'm thinking too. Maybe Buckley catches him in one of those Mike Tyson-esque combos coming in, but I'm thinking kind of the same performance where Wonder Boy got 30-27, or I can't remember if it was a main event, but I think 30-27 by Bilal. It was just, okay, Wonder Boy is going to lose this round. He's down. He's already halfway down. The round's over. He's going to lose.
And Gilbert Burns as well. I think very similar thing happened where he just pushed him up against the fence, double legged him. And Wonderboy is quite tough to take down.
Mm-hmm.
He is. He's not like an amazing wrestler or anything, but he's very awkward.
Yeah.
And quite lanky. And people like that tend to be hard to take down. I just like Buckley in this one. I think he's really strong at welterweight. And I mean, when I said he's not dumb, I mean he's not dumb in the cage. As soon as you give him the mic, the IQ drops instantaneously, and he starts calling out people that he's got no chance of getting a fight with. So he's dumb from that perspective. But in terms of his fight IQ, I mean, he's got a good team. He's younger. He's stronger. He's more varied. He's got more ways to win. I think Buckley, and I want him to win as well. I like him. Me
Buckley too. And I think it's like kind of entertaining to see him up in that top 10. I think there's good matchups there. Like honestly, all of those guys that are like the new welterweights, like Shavkat, JDM, Ian Gary, Buckley at this point now, and maybe a couple other guys. Sean Brady's not that same. He's not as entertaining. He's more of like a smush you with the grappling type of style. But a lot of these guys, Buckley can wrestle too, but a lot of these guys, they just have fun fight styles. Ian Gary's a hit and miss, but JDM, Shavkat, Buckley, they actually are like down to scrap without being super dumb in the cage where they're getting clipped and KO'd.
Yeah.
But, Buckley, JDM, Shavkat, the guys like that, that's like the elite of the elite in the next year or two. Like after Bilal's not champ, we're going to have those type of guys in title fights, and those will be banger title fights, having those guys that are actually down to scrap as opposed to, maybe like Bilal winning a really boring decision. But anyways, I just
Yeah,
I hate the
Wonder
boring
Boy
wrestling.
winning doesn't do anything for the division as well. Like he'll basically just be setting Buckley back while he's kind of got what will probably be 2 feet out the door at that point. Because you
True.
can't see him having more than one fight after that. You could still do him and like MVP if he loses or whatever. Whereas he's never going to get anywhere near the title. Whereas Buckley could very much start entering that mix if he wins this one and then potentially another. He's in with those younger guys that you mentioned earlier, and it just we need more depth in the division, and Thompson doesn't add to the depth anymore.
True.
So it's kind of a good thing for the division if he wins. And again, I like him.
Yeah, me too. And I think Buckley at 170, because he was obviously too small for middleweight, and I think he was at 170 on the regional scene. But what I talked about with Jax the other day on Making the Walk is how Buckley is turning out to be what me and Jax thought Kevin Holland was going to be at 170. I thought Kevin Holland was going to be a fucking problem at 170. And he just, you beat Tim Means. Oh, big deal, whatever. But then like Wonder Boy just being dumb in the cage, not wrestling Wonder Boy or not at least trying.
It's kind of what we love about him though.
Facts. He's one of my favorite fighters
in a
for
funny
sure.
way.
Yeah.
It's more like he's doing it for us kind of thing. I'm more forgiving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's for the boys.
He's for the boys. Yeah.
So
yeah, but it's a good it's a good fight. I think it's the right fight for Buckley, and hopefully he gets through it. And I think he will.
I think so too. And speaking of Kevin Holland, we move up to the main card opener, Kevin Holland versus Roman Dolidze. Personally, Kevin Holland is like one of my favorite fighters. I want to see him win. I'd love to see him ranked at 85 and 70, but this is a bad matchup because he's going to have to defend a lot of takedowns, and Dolidze is terrible on the feet. He's going to wrestle. And Kevin Holland, I think that Kevin Holland is, or it's not even I think. This is just what he's shown us. When the first round doesn't go his way, he checks out a little bit. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Dolidze is going to win like a 29-28, like wins the first 2 rounds with a takedown and top control. And then maybe Kevin Holland gives him a tricky third or something like that. But I think Kevin Holland is going to lose in pretty boring fashion, as much as I want to see him win this fight. But that's my prediction.
Yeah, this was another tough one for me as well. I'm going to go with Holland,
Okay.
Sorry, one second. I'm about to have a big sneeze.
Oh, yeah, you're good. It's going to bless yous in the chat.
All right, I'm back. That came out of nowhere. Yeah, I mean, I could very much seeing it go the way that you've laid it out, because Holland does have that issue with him. I do think his takedown defense is all right. I do think he scrambles quite well. And one thing that I don't like about Roman Dolidze is he's pretty decent at being persistent and taking people down, but he's pretty shit when he gets people down there. He doesn't do that much.
Yeah.
Like Roman Dolidze is a weird one for me because he's a very likable guy. It's a weird one. But like it's like you said, his striking is not good. And he can't do a lot of damage when he gets people down there. Holland's not gonna he's not gonna lay there and get beaten up.
True.
And Holland's also got a good submission game on the ground as well. I mean, you saw what he just did to Oleg Zaitchuk.
Yeah.
Like Oleg Zaitchuk obviously dropped him and then came into the guard and then just got fucking triangled. He's got that in his game. And I think it's maybe because I want Holland to win as well. And I know that if Roman Dolidze wins, it's gonna be fucking horrendous to watch.
True.
And I just don't want that. So I'm gonna hope that I think Kevin Holland's got a decent gas tank. You never see him puff out in fights, whereas Roman Dolidze does. I think Kevin Holland is clearly the much better striker. I think if he snipes him, and I think what Holland's going to do is he's going to keep at range and just pick his shots. I can see Dolidze diving in for stupid takedowns like he does, and Holland doing what he does and scrambling well, getting out the way. He might get taken down once or twice, but I think he'll land more and do more damage. And again, I see decision. I think Holland decision is what I'm going to go with. I'm just because I don't think he'll chin Dolidze out.
True.
Because Dolidze's got pretty Delidze has decent takedowns and an iron chin, and that's about it.
Yeah,
I just think, again, I'm going with the more skilled fighter
I hear you on that. Yeah.
in Kevin Hart, and I think he's way more skilled. And I think he has tangibles that tells me he can deal with what Roman Delidze has to offer. Which again, the takedowns, the threat on the ground. You don't really want to go on the ground with Holland. It's not really a very smart thing to do. His jiu-jitsu is decent.
Yeah,
I'm going Holland.
for sure. That's honestly what I hope for. I see Kevin Holland get wrestled in the first 2 rounds and kind of just like wait out those rounds a little bit, and not necessarily not throw up submissions and stuff, but get frustrated to where he starts to check out. But what I wanted
I'll
to
be honest. When I came on here, I was planning on picking Delidze.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I like using the exact same argument that you were going. And while I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm like, do you know what? I'm playing Kevin Holland's fights back in my head, and I'm like, I think he can pull it off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Kevin Holland's one of those guys where every fight, it's like, yeah, I see a path to him losing in a boring way, or I see a path to him winning in a very exciting way, you know?
Yeah, I just think the fight will be better if Holland wins. Quick shout out to you, Oscar. Don't worry, bro. We can see you. Don't freak out.
Oscar, he's there.
Yeah.
Guru's moth attacking Wyatt. That's true. I never have moths in here, and now all of a sudden I'm chasing one around. But you know, we talked about the momentum of the card, and I'm looking at it. There is a chance when we go Marina Rodriguez versus Lucindo, and then Buckley, Thompson, and Delidze Holland, there's a chance that Rodriguez Lucindo stinks, and then you have boring, grappling, heavy decisions from Buckley and Delidze, and then go straight into Kayla Harrison, which Kayla Harrison, I think, is either going to get like a quick sub or TKO, or it's going to be like another 30-27 top control type of thing. Like this card could come to a screeching halt.
Stinky.
Yeah.
That middle part, yeah. Which is why I'm probably not going to do a watch along. I don't fancy it. I don't think I can sit through it. I think I'm just going to enjoy it as a fan.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too.
Yeah, this is one that I want to kind of stay away from, I think.
Yeah.
I might convince one of the other content creators that we've got in here to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that if I change my mind, I can just jump on with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm basically willing to sacrifice somebody else for this, is what I'm probably thinking.
So let's see. Moving on from there, we got Ketlin Vieira versus Kayla Harrison. For me, I'm not even going to go that much into depth.
One, I think.
Kayla Harrison by assault.
Yeah, she's going to beat the piss out of her, isn't she? She should be fighting Raquel Pennington right now.
I don't know what tapes of Dana that Peña has, but 10-5 fights every 2 years, and she's
annoying as well.
Oh my god, I know. But yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I think Kayla Harrison's gonna, again. The only issue I was ever gonna have with Harrison is, can she make 135? She clearly can. She looked great against Holly Holm. I know Holly Holm is getting ready to crumple into a ball of dust at any moment, but she's still tough. Ketlin Vieira is not good.
No.
This is going to be a cakewalk. It might be boring. It might be a case where she beats her up by a bit. But yeah, Arturo, assault. Assault. The police are going to be called as soon as the fight is over. People in the crowd are going to watch that, and police are going to be called. It's going to be brutal.
That's right. So we're both taking Kayla Harrison there. Moving up the card to Jose Aldo versus Mario Bautista. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Again, I rate Bautista. I think he's very good. Decent striker. He's a very well-rounded guy. But then I look at who he's fought. He's had close decisions with people that he should be starching really at this stage of his career. It's Jose Aldo, bro.
Yeah.
Jose Aldo looked absolutely fantastic in his last one. I think the last time he fought was at 301, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, against Jonathan Martinez.
He looked fantastic. Jonathan Martinez is decent. He looked fantastic. I would say the sorry, who's he fighting again? Jose Aldo?
Mario Bautista.
Yeah, so I'd say Mario Bautista is a level up from the last fight that Aldo had, but I still think Aldo is it's Aldo. I don't know he's bigger, he's stronger, he's got great cardio. I think the time off did him a world of good. I don't think he's gonna KO him like maybe. I think he's gonna again batter him in an entertaining fashion for 3 rounds. It's gonna be very similar to the last fight. I think he's gonna chop away at the legs. He's got amazing takedown offense. I mean, 16 takedown attempts by Merab, all stuffed. It's horrible to watch, but his striking's elite. And again, I think the time off did him great. He's way more experienced, and he's the underdog. This is one you have to bet on, in my opinion.
1,000%.
He's the underdog. He's in my parlay, so I'm not just telling people to give up their money, and he's in mine.
Right.
I think this is one of those ones. If you lose, you're like, well, you can see. It's one of those things, isn't it? MMA just being MMA. But everything you can consider, the fact that he's an underdog as well, and he is fucking Jose Aldo.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
That's it, bro.
Like,
I'm going Jose Aldo.
I'm reading my notes that I had for this fight. A lot of it is almost verbatim what you said. I think this is a very similar fight to the last one. And I think this is going to end up being same reason I think it's Aldo by decision. I think this is going to end up being a boxing and leg kick battle. And if it ends up being a fight that's relies on boxing and leg kicks, I'm going to go Aldo almost every time. And
against almost anyone, if it's that kind of fight.
Exactly.
I feel like it will be.
And you mentioned Merab 0 for 16 on takedowns against Aldo. That was in Salt Lake City. That was at altitude. So I think Aldo's cardio is not going to get pushed the same way it was with Merab. And
we've seen Aldo fight everywhere,
and
the man does not. He's had how many 5-round fights in his career?
Oh my God!
I like that this is 3 rounds for him as well. I just think he's going to put on another masterclass.
I think so
and
too.
Again, Bautista's tough as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to starch him out, but he's going to be visibly better. I think visibly more skilled.
Yeah, I hear you. What do you think about? Okay, so Aldo gets a win here. What do you think's next for him?
He should be looking at a title eliminator.
Yeah.
If you look at the top 15, I think it's something crazy. Like he's beaten 5 or 6 guys who are currently operating in the top 15. He shouldn't be fighting Mario Bautista at all. I don't mean any disrespect to Bautista. He should be fighting somebody in the top 5 now.
True.
It should have been him and Aljo, or not Aljo. Well, Aljo's gone from bantamweight now, but it should have been him and Allen. Or Allen's a fucking featherweight. Is all I'm talking about. It should have been him and I'm trying to think of somebody in the top 5, bantamweight wise. Maybe honestly, him and
fucking Umar.
Because
I don't think Umar deserves a title shot.
100%. It's ridiculous. It's Jose Aldo. I don't know how many times I'm going to get away with saying that in one stream, but it's facts, ridiculous. Though. I think the UFC are punishing him a little bit.
True. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Or they're not for sure how long he's going to stick around for, and they go, okay, you're not going to knock off like a Cheeto or a Peter Yan where we actually still care about their name value. You're going to have to fight these prospects where either you prove that you still got it or they build their name off of you.
Yeah, so they're definitely doing win-win situation, because if Mario Bautista beats him, he suddenly becomes a Cheeto kind of spoken about guy. You get Aldo on your record, people take notice.
Exactly.
Whereas if Aldo beats you, everyone's happy, but you haven't. It's like you said, you haven't ruined one of your better prospects or names, and you've also so it's win-win for the UFC, and I think that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah,
he probably should get a title eliminator, but you'll get another 5 to 8 probably guy.
You know what seems interesting to me is if they're doing Merab and Umar, like if that's the next title fight, then what seems super fun to me is Sandhagen O'Malley, Striker's Dream.
Got to do that.
And then if Aldo comes off of a win here, I think like a Cejudo fight is fun.
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. Or you could potentially give him the loser of Umar and not Umar. There's another title eliminator type fight. Hang on, let me just get
Figueiredo and Jan
That's the one I
in
would
November. They're at
do. I
that.
would
They're
do
the
the
main event
loser of
China.
that fight. I do the loser of that fight, and then the winner gets the title shot.
I like that.
In my opinion,
I like that.
That's what I do, because that's probably the best that Aldo's looking at. They're not going to thrust him into a title fight, but you could. There's so many. How fun would him and Piotr Jan be if Piotr Jan lost?
Let's go, dude.
It's a great fight, guaranteed banger. So I don't know. There's options,
and even if they're looking for high profile, I know it sounds weird, but you could do Aldo and O'Malley.
You could,
yeah,
you very much could. I wouldn't. I mean, again, that's a tough fight for O'Malley to take as well.
Hell yeah,
it's a risky one, for sure. Especially after what we've just seen. I'd probably favor O'Malley in that matchup, but which is weird to say given what we've just seen. But it's a great fight.
Yeah, I think they're going to take O'Malley and they're going to give him like, okay, here's Sandhagen. Sandhagen's a fucking tough matchup. He's, top 5 guy, but he's not going to super test O'Malley's wrestling the way that Merab did or the way that like an Umar would. And I think they're going to say, go beat this striker in a fight you're very comfortable with, and then bang, you're back in there for the belt.
Do you know, I'm going to say this now. I think Sandhagen would beat him.
Okay.
Sandhagen's another. I know a lot of people shout on him for his Umar performance. I actually thought it proved how good Umar is.
True.
Because I think Sandhagen is one of the most well-rounded guys in the whole company, let alone in that division.
True.
I'm really high on this guy. I might be alone dying on a hill on this one. I think he's so good, and he's shown like such improvement, especially in his ability to grapple. I know we're going off on a bit of a tangent here.
No, go for it.
But yeah, I hope they do that fight. I don't think the UFC does it because it's so risky. Like they hold O'Malley in such high regard.
Mm-hmm.
Corey's already lost too many fights. I don't think they do it. I hope they will. It's the fight I've always wanted to see at bantamweight. I think they keep Sean away from him.
Okay.
They probably do Sean and I can see them doing Sean O'Malley and Cejudo potentially.
To me, that's a cakewalk win for O'Malley. That's what I think. I think 5'10" against 5'2", no punch power. Yeah, exactly, dude. I think O'Malley cooks Cejudo. That's, you know what? Forget everything I said. If they really want to treat O'Malley like, he's their golden goose, they go
beat Cejudo, yeah.
Whoop on 40-year-old Cejudo and get back in there for the belt.
100%. That's what they're going to do. Sandhagen's way too risky. Similar range, similar height, but also can grapple and is a better ground game. They're not going to put him in there with O'Malley. You know how they love O'Malley. They're not going to do that.
Of course.
It's a tough one for him.
Something I have to point out. This is what happens when the UFC actually gives us good fights, like Aldo on a main card of a pay-per-view, or like, some of the good fights on here, Buckley and Thompson. Mm-hmm. Our energy talking about these fights where we're like, oh yeah, where do they match make bantamweight? But before
you see how we go off on tangents, whereas of other ones we're like, this guy's gonna win. Let's move the fuck on.
Yeah,
this is what we're talking about. It's like when there's stakes as well. It feels like there's stakes for Aldo, and even for Bautista, you can see there's fights you can make from that. And it's the same thing with because like with Kayla, we know what's gonna happen. She's gonna squish her and then give her a title shot. She's gonna be champion eventually. Yeah. This means something.
True.
This fight here means something. Yeah.
And this is what happens if the UFC just gives us better cards, then people like get hyped about this, and then whatever. I
don't think it's that hard.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that hard to make good matchups. I really don't. Whatever.
It's just like, it's like sometimes there's layups and they go, yeah, we're just going to pull this random matchup out of our ass,
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I can see this card. This card's going to, I'm excited about it, but it could go either way.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, let's move on to the diversity hire co-main event, Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Peña for the women's 135-pound belt. I think I'm going to go with Peña. And with no explanation. They both suck. They both suck.
Point toss, yeah. I think Peña is one of the worst fighters they've ever had. The worst champion bar none they've ever had.
Yeah, true.
She's dog shit. Like if you watch her striking, it's inexplicable how bad she is. She's been inactive. The thing is with Pennington, she's got decent boxing. She's got decent takedown defense. And people shit on her for her record. But if you look at who she's fought literally everyone. Everyone in the sport.
Yeah.
She's had some tough losses along the way. I think Pennington's gonna be very similar to the Mayra Bueno Silva fight. I think she's gonna whoop up on her, and I can see her finishing her late. I like Pennington in this one. I think she's gonna dog walk her. Peña is shit.
Yeah, she's terrible. She's
so bad.
Pennington
the only
is
way
boring.
she wins. The only way she wins is if somehow she gets dog walked. Pennington goes down there with her and gets a bit careless, and she throws up some kind of mad sub or something. That's the only way I can see her winning.
Yeah.
And she's not even that good at jiu-jitsu. She's dog shit. Oh, she's so bad.
Yeah, well, like when she fought Nunes the second time, where she got the piss beaten out of her, it's almost like a smoke and mirrors game where like she's just throwing up bullshit arm bars and triangles from bottom, but she's still getting her ass beat. You know, it just changes the perspective.
Getting battered by Nunes it's basically MMA porn to me. if I'm feeling down and I need to pick me up, I go back and watch her getting just walloped from pillar to post. It's so satisfying to me.
Yeah, true.
I hate her.
True. Yeah, she is annoying.
Stomped. I want her to get curb stomped, and I'm gonna enjoy it. If she wins, if she wins, the only solace I'm gonna have, and this is gonna be the problem. The reason why I don't want her to win, she'll duck Kayla Harrison for a year.
Yeah.
We won't see that fight until this time next year when they force her to do it. When they basically say, look, we're going to strip you if you don't get in there. That's the only time we're going to see it.
I agree with you.
Whereas I think Pennington will fight anyone. People can talk shit about Pennington that she's not that good. And she's not. She's not a very good fighter, but she's better than Peña and she will fight.
Yeah.
Whereas Peña, like I said, who cares if bantamweight gets held up, really? But what I'm really hoping is I want Kayla to get the belt as soon as possible so that she can drag Amanda Nunes out of bed, or possibly Pacheco from PFL. There's fights you can make there. Whereas if Peña wins, it's just going to be a case of, oh, I'm injured. She's going to do the tour. She'll be smug with the belt going around. I'm not with it.
Well, here's the thing too, is that I feel Nunes probably only comes out of retirement for Peña, for Harrison. And I think that a trilogy with Peña does not interest Nunes at all. I think she's like, okay, a fluke, bad night, she subbed me. But then the second fight showed that the actual levels between us in terms of talent.
That was as a conclusive of beating. I feel like she kind of toyed with her as well. I feel like she could have finished her, but she wanted to spend 25. It's the one fight in UFC history where I look at it and I go, you just enjoyed beating the piss out of her. Like you wanted to beat her up for 25 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's going to happen is not only is she going to delay fighting Kayla if she wins, she's going to spend that time as kind of a bullshit excuse. She's going to say, Amanda Nunes, you're scared of me. Trilogy, come back.
It will.
Knowing it's not going to happen.
Precisely. That's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. And I mean, it's just the she's insufferable as well. I just don't like her as a general human as well. I think she drags it out. I think she longs it out. And the thing is, the reason why, and also I think with the Kayla thing, what I like about Kayla, she's very verbal as well. Mm-hmm. And as soon as she wins the belt, she's going to say, I'm the GOAT. She'll give it all that talk. And it gives Nunes a reason to come back. Whereas, like you said, there's no reason to come back for Peña. None. And we need Nunes to come back. Or Pacheco to come over. But I don't know how viable that is with our contract situation. But.
True. Well, because for Nunes, beating Peña one more time means fucking nothing. Cool. Beating her, I keep wanting to say Hernandez because we talked about Alex Hernandez earlier on the card, but Harrison. Beating Harrison, people are like, oh yeah, no doubt about it. Best
game
ever.
Over. If she comes back and beats Harrison, it's game over in terms of who's the greatest. I mean, she is the greatest female of all time, but who cares about that really?
Right.
But like, I mean, Zhang Weili, you could argue probably has a case if she keeps winning, but like with Harrison, it's like she could go on a murder spree over the next 3-4 years where she crushes everybody. And then people might start saying, would she have beat Amanda? Whereas if
Yeah.
Amanda is secretly training in the back and getting ready for her, Amanda could beat her.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
I
an
think
interesting one.
too that Nunes versus Harrison is actually, because that once in a while where they do a Nunes pay-per-view main event. I think Nunes versus Harrison is actually like a semi-respectable pay-per-view main event, because it'd be like, this
I
is the
wouldn't be
fight for
upset with
best
that.
of all time. Yeah,
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be upset with it at all. I really wouldn't. It's the one time when you can say, yeah, this might be it's a generational fight between two females that are genuinely actually good.
exactly. Which is few and far between.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need that. We need Rocky to win, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I quite like her as well. Like, she's another person that I think is not an annoying twat.
Yeah, no, she's chill.
She's chill.
She was, I saw her today. She was like, yeah, Juliana just has a degree in yapology. And I was like, shit, that's true. But I also like the way she presents herself, Whereas,
She's not a troll, but she's kind of rare these days.
yeah.
Everyone's a troll.
And Peña's so in your face,
She's just her screaming, "Boo, boo, you're ducking." I hate her. And it's just, just like she boils my piss, mate. She really does. She is. And the fact that she's getting a title shot at all is just gross to me.
True.
If you think the fact that it comes off her getting one of the worst, I mean, we're talking about a woman. We don't get to see that in women's fights that often. They're once in a blue moon.
Mhm.
She beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, for real.
Like, and you're getting a title shot right after that, after you've been doing nothing for 2 years.
She just chilled.
Stop it. Yeah.
So the new way to get a title shot in the UFC is either don't fight, or you can go the Khalil Rountree path where you beat Lionheart Smith and fail a drug test.
Or like, don't fight and then whine for 2 years. Do like get yourself on Ariel Helwani for the 4th time this year and just campaign for it. She's good at playing the game, but she disgusts me.
No, I hear you. Battered. Yeah, I hear you. See, that's the thing, is that some people it's like, okay, I see that you can play the game, but then other people like Alex Pereira, for example, it's like, to me, they're almost like too cool for the game. I'm a huge Pereira glazer, so that might come across as, pretty
I'm
dick
all right with it.
but
He does. I think he's one major fight away in terms of, if he can win at heavyweight, he could be entering the GOAT conversation. That's how I feel about this guy. If he can get like a triple, I don't think he would be the GOAT. But if he, they're laying him up for Tom right now. That seems to be the where this is going, which we're about to talk about when we talk about the main event.
Yep.
I'm with you on the glazing.
For sure. For sure.
Is incredible.
Well, let's get into the main event then. What are you thinking?
Well, I think this is the most. This is up there amongst some of the most undeserved title shots ever. I genuinely do. I've got nothing against Khalil Rountree as a person. I mean, he seems a bit like a softie. He's the weeping and all that. Very, very nice. He got dog walked by Prachnio, Johnny Walker, and he lost to Jacoby as well. He also lost to Ion. He got chinned by Ion Cutelaba. And he's fighting Alex Pereira. What the fuck are we doing? It makes no sense.
Dude, yeah, I'm looking at his Sherdog. The Jacoby win, he lost. And then he beat Chris Dawkins and Anthony Smith, who's just a fat guy and an old guy.
And Anthony Smith took that fight on 12 days notice. And it took him until the 3rd round to get him out of there, which ain't a good look. And everyone's like, he's going to catch Alex Pereira in the 1st round. Really? Right. When's he done that to anyone? When has he ever done that? He's dead food. He is awful. He can't grapple. His gas tank ain't that good. His output is shit. He fights primarily on one side. This is fucking mental to me.
Yeah.
And again, lovely bloke.
Yeah, of course.
Lovely old bloke. You know what I mean? But this makes no sense. And it's what I alluded to. They're giving Pereira this fight. We've talked about this maybe briefly before. to keep Alex Pereira winning, so that when John Jones retires, and they know he's going to retire, they've got Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall. That's the
Undisputed
only
heavyweight.
reason they're doing this, because they don't want. Because basically, if you give him Ankalaev and Ankalaev beats him,
Yeah.
it kills Alex Pereira, and nobody's going to give a fuck about light heavyweight anymore. We've already got too many grapplers with belts,
Mhm.
and then there's nobody for Tom to fight. It's all
That's
over.
the thing. It's a slippery slope with this whole John and Stipe thing. And then, because let me look at these rankings. Like, if let's just say if that everything that you just talked about happened, where Ankalaev beats Pereira and then John retires, you would have to do Tom Aspinall. Fucking
Cyril gone if he beats Volkov, and then we're not seeing that until the end of the year.
man, imagine if Volkov wins that fight too. I don't feel like anybody would give a fuck about Aspinall versus Volkov too.
No, they wouldn't.
Shit.
It's basically done. I mean, did you know they announced Jelton Almeida and Spivak today?
It's supposed to be January, supposed to be in LA. If I can scrape together enough coins, I might try to go.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. It's not a bad. Be interesting. I secretly like Spivak in that one, you know.
Yeah, no. Hey, Spivak, okay, he got embarrassed by Cyril Gane, but Spivak is good.
Yeah, Spivak is good. It's going to be a Jelton Almeida fraud check, I think, in that one. Well, he's kind of been fraud checked already a little bit, but I think it's going to be end of him in that one in terms of he should be fighting a light heavyweight anyway. But this is the whole thing. This whole main event is bonkers to me. I think I would be honestly stunned if Khalil Rountree made it out of the first 2 minutes.
That's what I'm thinking too. First 2 minutes,
bonk him out.
I think
if I'm Khalil, I'm maintaining my dignity and I'm running away as much as I can and just trying to get to the end of the fight and maybe see if he can catch an opportunity. Because I think some people will see it as, oh, it wasn't ridiculous if he doesn't get starched out. Because obviously Hill got starched out, Yeri got starched out. If he can not get knocked out, it will be a justification of sorts for him getting the. But if he engages with him in any way, he's getting slept.
Of course. That's what I think is going to happen is like Khalil lands like 1 or 2 low kicks where people go, oh guys, we told you. And then he gets KO'd like 5 seconds later.
Yeah.
But
I'd be honestly amazed if it makes it. And again, this is a guy who got outstruck and outclassed by Peña. Couldn't get Smith out of there until the very end. A guy who was jumping off the couch. He got into basically a war with Johnny Walker. Whenever you do that with Johnny Walker's chin is usually the first to go.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Walker chins him out, and he lost to Ion Cutelaba, who's one of the dumbest fighters in the UFC.
No, when you say Peña, Cutelaba, and Walker losses back to back to back, or were those? I don't even know if they were all back to back to back, but
they were pretty close proximity within each other.
Oh yeah, so he lost to Walker, then he beats Eric Anders. That's not a great win, and then Cutelaba Peña. Dude, those are bad losses.
And bear in mind that the Jacoby fight was a disgrace as well. I think he outstruck him something like 120 to 70. It was a clear robbery. And Jacoby's all right, but he's not at that level. Alex Pereira's going to fuck him up.
Dude, and even going all the way back, you know, Tyson Pedro at one point was like going to be a guy before he had to deal with all those injuries, but he got submitted in the first round by Tyson Pedro. And then like his wins are Paul Craig, and Paul Craig's like the most inconsistent person ever. I see a lot of people hanging on to the Gokhan Saki win because people are like, oh, Gokhan Saki, amazing kickboxer. Alex Pereira is a kickboxer, but it's 2 different worlds. You know, it's Alex Pereira.
Yeah, this makes no sense. I mean, it's the only way it makes sense is if you frame it the way that we've just framed it. And that's just keeping making Alex Pereira seem like a viable threat to Tom Aspinall, I think is all they've got. They're looking ahead. And it could blow up I mean, is there a chance that Khalil Rountree could chin Alex Pereira? It's a fight.
Yeah.
It could happen. You know, when it's at this level, anyone can potentially be anyone. But if you're looking at it on paper, anybody who says to me they're looking at this on paper, they've looked at all the tangibles and they're saying Khalil's going to win, is talking out their arseholes.
Exactly.
But I'm not saying he won't win because, you know, like I said, anything can happen. But if you're being objective here and you're looking at the clear evidence that's in front of you, how they fight, who they fought, all the physical attributes that both of them have. Mate, there's no way you can pick Khalil Rountree. He's shit.
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting is that when I was talking on making the walk about this fight, I was like, yeah, at the moment, I was like, okay, they're probably letting this Pereira Aspinall business go. They're for sure just gonna, Ankalaev's next. Whoever wins, if Pereira loses, I think they do immediate rematch with Khalil, because Rountree versus Ankalaev doesn't sell at all.
Oh no, they have to. He'll definitely get a rematch.
Yeah,
The
but
funny
like,
thing is with Jack say, he told me, I don't know if you mentioned this,
mhm.
he said like a year and a half ago that this was going to happen. He
This
said that
fight?
Rountree was going to get the shot.
Shit.
Like, he called it like exactly as it's happened, and I laughed at him. I said he was stupid, and he was 100% correct.
Yeah,
Just
man.
nailed it.
Yeah, that's the thing is I was thinking about this. I was like, okay, Ankalaev is next if Pereira wins this fight. But now that we've had this conversation where it's like, okay, John and Stipe are for sure retiring. John's been pretty clear about it. Stipe is going to retire too.
Mm-hmm.
It makes perfect sense that they're setting this up for undisputed heavyweight belt, like first quarter of next year, Pereira Aspinall.
100%. That's the direction it's going in. Because it's like you said, either way, John and Stipe are done. And even if Stipe wins and says he wants to continue, we won't see him again until midpoint next year.
Yeah.
You'd assume. So they need this. They need this. And they kind of, I think they're hoping and expecting that John just wins. They know he's going. You elevate Tom, and then you just go, right. Well, you don't even elevate him, you just go, right, you and Alex.
Bang,
And then
undisputed.
if Tom wins, you've got your new heavyweight for the next 10 years. If Alex wins, you've got the first ever triple weight champion.
And they still barely promote him.
It's win-win.
Yeah.
It makes all the sense in the world. The pay-per-views for that fucking card would be crazy.
Yeah, no, that'd be crazy for sure. And if by some way, somehow John decides to stick around and fight John, then we have I'm Pereira Aspinall or Jones Aspinall. Either one of those is like top 10 biggest fights of all time, most likely.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, if Aspinall somehow loses or gets John Jones, if I'm going to be interested to see what John Jones does if he loses. If he loses to Stipe, does he retire then?
I don't think his ego lets him retire there. I think he has to be like, no, I have to get that one back. I have to beat
And then
Aspinall.
we wait another year for them to fight again.
Exactly.
No, because he'll fight Stipe again.
Yeah, he will.
That'll be the problem. Fucking this whole sport, mate.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. I appreciate you for checking in, hopping on the channel again. It's a pleasure every time we get to talk.
It's always a pleasure. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed the card. Hopefully it will be a good one. And thank you for having me on. It's been a fun one. It always is.
Of course, man. Thank you. I appreciate you coming on. Everybody in the chat, if you are not subscribed to Fight Night Frankie, go ahead and check him out. I have him linked in the title of this video. Check out new video just dropped today, right?
It did, yeah. It did. I'm quite proud of this. And you're featuring on it, so it's an extra reason. If you're a fan of Wyatt,
there you go.
Get over there and catch him on there as well.
I'm gonna drop the link to it in the chat right now. Let's go.
I realized I've let myself get miles behind in the chats as well. Jesus, I'm very sorry, guys. It's one of those videos.
I get so far behind on the chat, but here we go. All right, guys, in the chat right now is the link to Fight Night Frankie's new video.
Much love. I'll jump off then and let you finish your outro as you like to do.
Oh yeah, you know the vibes.
I know the vibes, guys. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat for being patient with us as well. I appreciate it. It's always good to see some familiar faces, and thanks again for having me on.
Of course, man. Anytime.
And I'll probably see you during the week.
Hell yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we'll do a stream next week. We can do a recap stream or something like that.
That would be nice. Yeah, dissecting what is hopefully a fun one.
That's right. Well, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Take it easy, brother.
See you soon. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for checking in. I really appreciate you guys always tuning in. Let me see. Wyatt, watch out for Guru's Moth. I'm doing my best, brother. I'm doing my best. There's a lot going on here. We got Moths. We got title fights that don't make sense. We got Juliana Peña about to be champ again. It's crazy in here, but let's see. W Stream, peace out. W Stream, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, no, this was a fun one. Getting on with Frankie's always fun. Him and Jax too. I like Jax for making the walk. Great guys. And yeah, it's always nice to make connections with people that are from a different part of the world through the internet. So good stuff, guys. I hope this stream is actually good. And we'll be back next week. I got videos coming for you all week next week. We got big stuff coming up. We got Ngannou making his return to MMA on a big PFL card. We got this card this weekend. We got Max versus Ilya on a stacked card coming up. We got plenty of stuff coming, guys. So videos every day, every other day. You guys know how it goes. Streams a few times a week. We're back. Didn't get to do an episode of What's Up, Bro, with Wyatt and Bo to release today. I made a critical error in recording. I went to edit it last night to put out this morning. And I realized that I did not record the audio. So it was just a video only. So we decided to skip the week. And yeah, that's my bad. I apologize. But we'll be back with a banger next week, guys. I put a community post up as well, asking any fighters or personalities or coaches that you guys would like to see me interview or collab with. You know, I know a few fighters personally, but I would definitely like to branch out, do some interviews or do some training vlogs with some fighters and stuff. And you guys are a big part of this channel's growth. You guys are the only part of this channel's growth is you guys supporting me. So go check me out. Drop me a like. Yeah. Discounts on Fig. I know it, man. Get Figgy. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting Figgy. It's a Figgy Friday, my friend. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. Please drop a like, subscribe. If you guys want extra content, become a channel member, help support the growth of the channel, all that. Go check out my non-MMA podcast, What's Up, Bro, with Wyatt and Bo, linked in the description down below. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy 307. Yeah, I'd love to interview Dumas, but it's not going to happen. But peace, guys. Appreciate y'all.